I never thought I would actually go for a watch like this, but out of the 5 pieces, I don't know, maybe it's my favorite. It gets a lot more wrist time than I originally thought. Welcome back, friends. It's me, Brendan. Thanks for joining me again. I've got a really action-packed video for you today. I'm going to be taking you through 5 incredible vintage Rolex watches and the ins and outs of some of the do's and don'ts, I suppose, of vintage watch collecting. I think you're going to really enjoy that. And it's more than just buying watches, it's the stories of the watches that we want and the experiences and how it makes us feel. Before we get into that, I'm going to give you a few bits and pieces. So first things is I have come across this fantastic fragrance brand, Carner Barcelona, and I'm going to be doing some content on this brand in the coming weeks. So if you like your niche fragrances, Carner are a local brand to me here in Barcelona. They've got a really nice range of both masculine, feminine, and all different types along the spectrum of notes. So we will get into that in the coming weeks. Look out for that. And also big thanks to everybody that's watched a video or subscribed to the videos or interacted with the content. I'm really, really grateful. And lots of you watch videos but don't subscribe. If you like this content, then please do hit the subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then you won't miss another video. And it helps to keep me motivated to keep creating more content for you on a weekly and daily basis. Don't also miss the shorts that I'm doing. So I'm doing daily shorts on little bits, little watch reviews, fragrance reviews, bits and pieces, that kind of stuff. So check out the shorts as well. I think you'll get a lot of like bite-sized information from them. So let's jump into this video. So in my hands here are 2 watch rolls with some pretty nice stuff in. But before we get into this, I really just want to say that it is not my intention to just show you like expensive things and basically show off the stuff. I absolutely love my watches. I love my collecting. I've been doing it for a long, long time, probably to the detriment financially of where I could have been if I'd have perhaps put that money elsewhere. So look, this is not about the money. It's about the love of watches. And I hope you can see where I'm hoping to take you on that journey. And today's theme is 5 vintage Rolex watches, how to build a great watch collection, and yeah, enjoy that journey. Okay, so let's see, which one should I start with? Can't actually remember what's inside these. Let me go with this one. So I'm going to pull out the first watch, and I won't show you the rest yet, although you might see it if I put it in the captions or the descriptions and all that kind of stuff. Let's have a look. Try not to give it away. So the first watch here is actually one of the watches I've owned for the very longest, and it is this one. It's my Rolex GMT Master 2. I put some overlay in here, and what a watch. It's a stunning, stunning watch. A Rolex GMT Master 2, a 16710. And this watch I acquired around about 7 or 8 years ago. And in the grand scheme of all things Rolex, I did not pay a lot of money for this watch. But it's actually become one of my very, very, very favorite watches. It was one of my first vintage, or I suppose you could call it neo-vintage. I think it's like the year 2000. And the older Rolexes just wear so much more slimline, in my opinion. And when compared with newer Rolex watches, they're just so much more elegant and less gaudy. Even just a Submariner, a basic Submariner. And like, I've been through that authorized dealer journey, and don't get me wrong, I've done really well out of that, and I've really enjoyed collecting modern Rolexes as well as vintage Rolexes. But now I look at this vintage collection and I'm so grateful that I have held on to these pieces. And it's got a beautiful faded bezel that's patinaed in time. Maybe you can see that. But yeah, I mean, look, it's such a classic watch. And you can wear this piece with a t-shirt and jeans, you can wear it with a shirt and do the whole boardroom vibe. Really does deliver this watch for me, and it's probably, to this day, one of my most worn Rolex watches that I've owned. I've probably owned 80 to 100 Rolexes over the last sort of 10 years, and it's still here, still one of my absolute favourite watches. So the next one, I'm going to dip into this watch roll here and show you this next one. Really special watch, this one, to me, and it is the Datejust two-tone, and I'm pretty sure the reference is something like 16023, and I've not had this watch that long. Got it at the end of last year. I wanted something a bit more two-tone that just moved on the wrist really nicely, and traded in some other pieces for it. Most of the watches that you're going to see today, I've traded for other watches that I've had in my collection, and this represents a downsized version. It's a 36mm, but I love that. My tastes have changed a little bit, and I much prefer the look of the 36mm, especially on pieces like this. And I love it. I think it goes perfectly with like a nice cigar. I think it's great just to look at and enjoy. I mean, they're just so well made. Like the Jubilee bracelet from the 1980s still performs well, and that's one of the things you want to look for with vintage watches, is making sure that the bracelet quality is there, but it's also a legit bracelet that's age appropriate. It's okay sometimes for the bracelet to be changed as long as it's like age appropriate. When you look at the paperwork for these watches, you want to make sure that you're getting what you're actually thinking you're getting, and that's one of the big rules of buying watches in general, but especially vintage, is you are not buying the watch, you're buying the seller of the watch, 100%. So having trusted relationships with people who can source watches for you it is everything. That it really, really is. And I love this watch, and when you put it alongside the GMT, you can see the difference in size there, but also just how that vintage look is building here, right? So I'm going to bring out the next piece, and in theory this might be the most special piece of the lot, and I'll share why shortly. And it is my Rolex Submariner, and this is a 1983 Submariner, the 16810 reference, and 40mm, and it's got a lovely, lovely patina dial. And so why is this maybe the most special in the collection? Well, very simply, it's because that is my birth year, and I looked long and hard to source this watch, my birth year Submariner. And once again, I bought this watch through my friend and trusted dealer, and a fantastic network, and he sourced this watch for me. I actually found the watch, but I didn't want to do the sourcing and the buying and the negotiating. And so, yeah, I bought this watch, and if I'm honest, I probably overpaid a little bit. But I think with these watches, as long as you don't pay silly, silly money for them, and you're going to hold on to them for a bit, they're going to be okay financially for sure, even if they took a hit in the last sort of crash, shock, whatever. But yeah, look at that watch, and it just moves on the wrist really well. I just don't think you can go wrong with a vintage sub of any kind in your collection. What an epic, epic timepiece. So if you think about it now, we've got the GMT bringing back in, and the sub, and then the Datejust. Very different looks, and this collection alone, this 3-watch collection, would be more than enough. And you know, almost have like your daily or your sort of smarter daily, your Rolex, the Submariner for your other daily, and then maybe the GMT for the weekend, something like that. Totally fine, that kind of works for me. All right, so I'm going to go to the 4th watch now, something a little bit different, something that I never thought I would actually go for a watch like this, but out of the 5 pieces, I don't know, maybe it's my favorite. It gets a lot more wrist time than I originally thought. And it is this. It is the day date with the diamond dot dial in white gold. And there's just something about a Rolex day date that just can't get enough. And if you see it on the wrist, it's 36mm. It moves really well. It's like a piece of jewelry. The dial on this particular piece has just slightly started to patina a little bit. but it's an eye-catching watch. And I think people need to start looking at these 36mm watches. Even for someone like me, I'm 6'1" and 93 kg. I absolutely love these vintage 36mm pieces. Just delivers. It is a full set, but I don't have the box and papers on me for this piece. But that's another thing to consider with vintage or older watches. The paperwork is slightly less important. It's not unimportant, but again, if you're buying from a good dealer that you trust and has got a great reputation and they've authenticated the watch and you are happy with that watch, you might save yourself a significant amount of money. And when you come to resell it, because you probably will, even though you say you're going to keep it forever, we never do, right? When you come to resell the piece, everybody knows what it is, and there's less of a sort of culture of these types of pieces needing paperwork. The proof is in the pudding. Whoever's going to buy it will take a look at it and they will be able to tell straight away if they're getting what you said or what they thought. But yeah, like, I can't get enough of this white gold day date. I think I would find it really, really hard to let this piece go. I really would. Such a stunning piece. So what is the last piece, the fifth watch in this vintage collection? Well, I'm going to tell you, it might be the most special. That's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? It's not the same as any of the others. There's one missing, and I'm sure if you know your Rolexes, you probably guess, or you probably know what it is. Maybe I've put it in the captions or the picture, so maybe you already know, and this is completely irrelevant. But anyway, nonetheless, it is this. It is the Panda Daytona, and this is the Zenith movement, and this particular piece is an A serial full set that I sourced a couple of years ago now, and my God, this is a beautiful, beautiful watch. Like, this piece just never, ever, ever gets boring, gets old. It's so slimline. That Zenith movement is just high quality, but look at that. Look how elegant that looks, and how the high polish on the dial and the bracelet just makes it pop. You don't get that with today's Rolexes. The ceramics, they look sporty, they look great, but they're not this. They do not have this polish, elegance, the story in it. You know, this watch is 26 years old now. You know, it could be brand new today. The design is iconic, the Daytona is iconic. It really is a special watch. It makes you feel special. When I wear this watch, it elevates my day. It really does. And I think this one I would find incredibly difficult to let go of at any point. I really would. I think it's a beauty. And when you compare it to some of these other pieces in here, bring a few in and we'll do a little beauty parade. If you compare it to, say, the GMT, you know, very different. You've got the pop of the blue and the red and the elegance of the Daytona there, and technically they're the same size, 40mm, but the Daytona definitely wears slimmer. If you compare it with the Submariner, it definitely wears slimmer than the Sub, for sure. And it really does actually probably wear in the elegant bracket of the day date. Just trying to get that in focus. Can't even say any more about this now. Just beautiful. Very, very grateful, very lucky. But the thing with these watches is they will pay you back. It's not, you're not going to make money on them in 6 months or even 2 or 3 years, but you're safe in a Rolex, especially a Rolex sports model, and especially a vintage Rolex. If you buy it at a sensible price, you will be able to get out of it at a sensible price. And it will serve you well, it will protect you for sure. So there you go, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed that. 5 really special vintage or neo-vintage Rolex watches. I've really enjoyed sharing this with you. I'm loving just staring at the Daytona now. And I certainly do not take these watches for granted. I've worked hard for these, I've saved hard for these, and I enjoy them every single day. Go to my safety deposit box in the cities that I live, in the UK and in Spain, and they have pride of place in my day-to-day life, these things. Watches have that effect on people, I think, certainly on me. So yeah, I recommend, if you're starting out in vintage, go and speak to some dealers, go and try on some pieces and start to put some of the pieces together yourself. Study on things like Chrono24 and on websites like Hodinkee and many others. I'll link a few in the description, and start to grow your knowledge on this stuff. But the most important thing, 100%, is buy from people who are trustworthy, who are proven, who are in the industry for a long period of time, that you can take the watch back if there's a problem, you can trade it and get out of it really easily. You know, for me, that is everything. All right, guys, so thanks again for watching. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Definitely hit subscribe if you like this video, and if you like the type of content that I put out every week, then definitely tune in for more and hit the bell icon. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Leave me a comment, which was your favorite watch in this video? Which would you like? And what's your next purchase, whether it's a Rolex, whether it's an Amiga, whether it's anything. Share your thoughts and let's get the conversation going. And thanks again for being a part of this little community that we're building. And I'll be back again very soon. See you next time.